Before we get to today's podcast, I want to remind you about another great ESPN podcast, Sports with Katie Nolan. It's a weekly show about sports and all the things tangentially related to sports. Its friends would describe it as curious, fun, and a podcast. Weekly guests include sports fans from all sorts of industries, comedy, film, television, science. So be sure to check that one out. Download, subscribe to Sports and the Right Time wherever you get your podcasts. All right, you've heard us talk about hymns and how they are helping guys look their best. If you haven't, it's time to see what they're all about, because 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. I know about that one, and it's a big problem. Why do guys sit there and do nothing about it when they could turn to medicine and science? Once you've noticed thinning hair, it can be too late. The best way to prevent more hair loss is to do something about it while you still have some. It's time to grab this new year by the follicles. Here's to a new year of personal growth. It's time to write a new chapter, one in which you have hair, and the only solution is for Hims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and other wellness supplements for men. Hims is helping guys be the best version of themselves with licensed physicians and FDA-approved products to help treat hair loss. Prescription solutions backed by science. Hims was created by a guy who knows some men's health conversations are easier online than in person. No more awkward in-person doctor's visits or long pharmacy lines. For Hims connects you to real doctors online, which can save you hours. Completely confidential and discreet. Answer a few quick questions. A doctor will review, and if they determine it's right for you, can prescribe you medication to treat your hair loss that is shipped directly to your door. Dive into 2020 hair first. Right now, my listeners can get started with their first month free. Go to forhims.com/Bomani. That's forhims.com/Bomani. Prescription requires an online consultation with a physician who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Offer valid only if prescribed. 3-month minimum subscription. Additional restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Remember, that's forhims.com/Bomani. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Coming up on this episode of The Right Time, we have got a great interview with Stephon Marbury. But first, all right, let me talk to you guys about, this is one of them days at the office, right? So, Gabe, I'm coming in here getting ready to do the show, entertain the masses. You know how it goes. Charles Oakley walks in. Stop and talk to Charles Oakley for a second. Charles Oakley walked in here with a hard drive because Charles Oakley got video of his day with Jim Dolan and, the thing that happened with him. So he's pulling it up with a producer and he out here treating that thing like John Madden. Boom! That kind of stuff. Tell it straight. All of that. So I see him. Then the homie Al Harrington walks past. I don't even know what Al's here for, but I ain't seen Al in a minute. Actually, no, I've never seen Al in person. So I talked to him. And then right after that, Megan Thee Stallion walked past. It looked like she done had a week, boy. Gabe, you been keeping up on that?
I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad that she's there today because we didn't get to address that on Tuesday's show.
Yeah, I'll just say she's had a week. And the point that I would make about her having a week is, and this is what I think is the wildest thing about it, the two main characters in that story are Megan Thee Stallion and Carl Crawford. The two people involved in that who knew the least about the record industry at the time were Megan Thee Stallion and Carl Crawford. And now they're going back and forth. And then Carl called Jay Prince, and something tells me this is going to get resolved pretty soon. I don't know exactly how it's going to get resolved, but I don't feel like you call Jay Prince and things don't get resolved. Could be mistaken there. I'm curious what she's going to say on there. I'm curious what the questions are going to be. I'm curious about so much. It's a very interesting day here at this office. I mentioned this thing here with you about Charles Oakley being in the house. Gabe, it's been an interesting week for the Knicks. They put Spike Lee. Well, they didn't put him out the arena, right? They just wouldn't let him go in the elevator that he wanted to go in, which I have to say kind of comes across as poor treatment of Spike Lee. And that then led to Charles Oakley going on to Golic and Wingo on Wednesday to talk about the situation. And can we play the clip of that, please?
It's a plantation over there. It's bad. People won't talk about it. It's real bad over there. This man been buying tickets for 28 years, over $10 million, and you question him out if he come this door, that door. What is this man's problem about control? He's so much of a control freak. And he hurting the whole NBA. If I'm an owner of NBA, this guy headline every other month, every other week with something that don't have nothing to do with winning. It got to do with individuals, people's life. We shouldn't be going through this. Them days will be over with, this control freak and all this. That. It's a corporate business. It's a business. You have to have people to work for you, so you have to get along with people to succeed in life. You guys, any type of operation business, you need people to work. People shouldn't be stressed out working every day.
I am trying to imagine what was going through Mike Golick and Trey Wingo's minds when he said it's a plantation, because he saw Trey tried to get in there, and Oak wasn't stopping. I wanted to know, like, yo, what you mean by that? But I gotta say, I can understand how somebody may not necessarily have wanted to stop the action at that point. You know, I could see how somebody was just kind of like, hopefully he'll explain this himself. I'm not necessarily in the position to ask all the amazing follow-up questions that could possibly come up in a circumstance like this. But that did, in fact, happen. Now, what Oakley presented, though, that I thought was a very interesting idea. Well, not even interesting. I guess we've talked about it before. Yo, they got no way to get rid of this dude. Like, that's where their issue is. It's one thing when you got Donald Sterling, and Donald Sterling owns the other team, right? And in fact, Gabe, we got the other one with him talking about trying to get Adam Silver involved. Can we run that?
James Dolan's not selling the team. I mean, he's made that very clear. He's not selling the team.
Yeah, but Donald Sterling didn't sell his team either until NBA came in and did something.
So you think the NBA should step in this situation here because it's a bad look for the league?
They should have. I mean, if you're a former player and what happened to me, where they drugged me under for no reason, and we got the tape, I didn't do nothing. It's like hitching somebody back in his 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
He don't care. I mean, I hate to put him in the category with Donald Trump, but I think that's Trump's nephew.
Yo, can you imagine how shook they were at the radio station when that happened? If you're a producer, Golick and Wingo, and that happens, what is your thought?
Ask this man to elaborate.
Yes, but also it's, oh my God, what's about to happen? Like we do we need to put the memo on the door before people come in here? Like, hey, we don't be talking about that dude. Like, no, that ain't the way that we play this game. But he's right. You can't take a team from somebody. You can't excommunicate the Knicks from the league and say you can't participate here as long as Jim Dolan owns the team. None of these things are options. This dude just keeps making money hand over fist. Just made a big come up off of the Forum because Steve Ballmer wants to build an arena in Inglewood, and this was coming up as an issue and everything else. Like, Dolan's in the best situation ever with this, and the losers are obviously literally everybody else. It's bad business for the league because having the Knicks be bad, I mean, we're really underutilizing one of the great assets, one of the great resources of the league. They got a loyal fan base, although people are reaching the point where they stop and watching the Knicks. Like, you go look at what the ratings are for the Knicks, man, they are bad in a way, given how much people care about this team, that they have just given up, right? They can't sell it, man. They can't get them to sell it. They can't make them. They need somebody to come up with something scandalous to try to hold Dolan up to. But, yo, that's not happening. So everybody just sits around and is just kind of like, man, sure hope the Knicks get good. Sure hope the Knicks get better. And you know what this got me to thinking about with the Knicks? Do we need to give Carmelo Anthony a little bit more credit? Because, look, Melo decided that he was going to do this Knicks thing. I wouldn't have been on board with doing the Knicks thing if I was Melo, but Melo decided that he was going to come in and he was going to do this Knicks thing. All right, cool. He went in there. He never really complained about the madness. They won a playoff series. I believe that's the only time they've done that in something like 20 years. So we had that, right? He played well while he was here. The teams are not as good as people wanted them to be, but they were never embarrassing. Like, these teams they've had since Melo left, I think we'd all agree, those have been, like, embarrassing sorts of teams. We haven't had that. Like, Melo's got to be out here like, hey, man, I am literally the best thing to happen to y'all in 20 years. Nobody else wanted to be a part of this. Nobody wanted this, right? And there you go. There you got Melo. He stood tall through all the madness. And now we just got this team that's just over there being sorry. Just being sorry. And I feel like I would enjoy living here a little bit more if they were good. Like, if the Knicks got to be halfway good, like something tolerable that you could do, you know what? I might start rooting for the Knicks, Gabe. I need a team.
Pablo, longtime suffering Knicks fan, might have worn off on you there.
No, Pablo ain't no Knicks fan. Pablo be talking all this stuff about, like, I used to be a Knicks fan. I ain't never heard him say nothing Knicks fanish ever. Yeah, but you can't start as a Knicks fan and become a Sixers fan. You know what the Knicks' luck will be? The Knicks' luck will be that this is the year they get the number one pick. I got no idea who the cats are that they're looking at that top of the draft, which means, of course, this would be the year that the Knicks get the number one pick. Like, for all I know, this could wind up being one of them drafts like the year 2000, which is probably the worst draft of our lifetime that did not involve all the people, you know, the cocaine. This would be the year that the Knicks get the number 1 overall pick. Knicks, as far as I can tell, got one player that I feel like they should want to keep for the long haul. And that's, what's big man's name? Mitchell Robinson. That's the one. Can you name any other Knicks that you think are good?
Not that I think are any good, no.
Yeah. Well, like Julius Randle, he all right player.
Nah.
You know, Laker fan.
Former Laker
fan. I mean, Marcus Morris.
Marcus is with the Clippers now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
dude,
right. He's there, and Marquise with the Lakers.
Yeah, big news.
That's right.
Big news for Clutch.
You just can't help it with Clutch, can you?
Oh, it's one of my favorite things.
Hey, man, say what you want about Clutch. Your man, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, been bringing it. He just had to shake off that dead weight on his ankle. It's hard to hoop with an ankle bracelet. Like, I've never tried to do it, but I imagine it'd be very difficult. I feel like it would aggravate, the bone ball on your ankle. I feel like the ankle bracelet would hurt that. I had thought about it like that, had you? I don't know what the Nets would have to do to make the city of New York actually care about what they do. Like, I literally have no idea. Maybe with Kevin Durant and Kyrie, then you'll have people paying any attention. But it's not as though the Knicks are terrible, and the Nets are not, right? Like, the Nets aren't great, but the Nets are probably going to go to the playoffs. The Knicks are terrible, and the Nets are just the other team. Nobody cares, B. This is just my thought. Is there anybody that works in that operation that realizes that, like, some people you just need to be nice to? You know what I mean? Like, is there anybody that recognizes that there's just some folks that you gotta, like, treat better than that? And so Spike Lee, and I understand that, and I don't blame people who are looking at it like, yo, dude, just go to the other elevator or whatever it is, right? I get that. But you don't put out no statement knocking the only dude who actually wants to come see this team. Right? You don't do that. You don't get into this situation with Oakley because everybody here loves Charles Oakley. He is a beloved figure. You don't do this with Charles Oakley. You just don't. And you would just think at some point that somebody who's in charge there would recognize this isn't the way to put out a press statement. And I feel like whoever works in PR over there, that's a person that knows something about doing PR, right? That's somebody that's done this before. They know this is ridiculous. They know this is bad business. So why would they keep on doing it? And we all know there's only one answer as to why it is they would keep on playing it like that if that was the case. Because the boss told them to, right? The boss is like, no, go out there and say that what Spike is saying is ridiculous. What you do is you go out there and say, we're going to handle this with Spike privately. We hate that he has chosen to take this public, but we are going to handle this behind closed doors. That's the way that you play it. The Knicks don't understand how to do any of that stuff, man. Any of it whatsoever. And all they wind up doing is looking embarrassing. That's it. They embarrass themselves at every turn. And I was kind of thinking about this, Gabe, because you're kind of at the age, you don't really have much of a recollection of the Knicks ever being, like, good.
No, the only, like, good Knicks team, I think my memory bank is that Carmelo Amari team.
The league is so much better when the Knicks are good. The league is so much more interesting when the Knicks are good. And as a result, what you wind up getting is Knicks fans. And Knicks fans are the best, right? And the best thing about the Knicks fans is how little it takes to get them charged up. It takes nothing for them to get optimistic. Like, that's how bad, like, to tell you how bad it is right now that these folks done lost hope, talk to anybody who's ever had extensive experience dealing with Knicks fans. It takes nothing for them to build up hope. Nothing at all for them to build up hope, man. They'll just sit there and start running through the roster and telling you who everybody is. They get to scouting. They get to figuring out who's going to be the future. They could probably tell you about the cat in the G League that's going to turn into a star. All of that. They make everybody's life better in large part because you know they're not actually going to win it. So you just get to chuckle at the idea that they keep pushing up on what is never going to happen. That's Knicks fan. We don't get to enjoy Knicks fan at all. Because the Knicks are too sorry for them to fool themselves. How would you go about getting them up out of here?
Well, they just hired Leon Rose.
Right.
First of all, how long do you think Leon Rose lasts?
Good question. I guess we're going to see how free agency goes, and then we can start getting an answer there.
Because we're talking about all these different measures that the Knicks are falling over themselves with these PR statements and stuff. Like, Leon Rose is technically hired at this point, but from what he said, it's that he's going to kind of like take a seat back until the summer and kind of watch things, watching like the burning house around you and being like, everything's fine.
Yeah, but see, this stuff is like kind of not in his pay grade, kind of outside his purview. You know, like this ain't basketball operations. This has nothing to do with that. But I'm saying if you're Adam Silver, if you could get James Dolan out of here what scam would you be willing to run to get James Dolan out of here? Because look, ain't nobody in the world that you can't get out of here. They figure out how to fire tenured professors, right? I think I may have told you about this once. I had a professor who was telling me about the lengths that one school went to get rid of a tenured professor. And what they did was they put the dude's office on the floor where the elevator was busted, and that dude had a heart problem. Like, that's how they ran him up out of there. There's got to be a way that they can figure out how to make this uncomfortable enough that Jim Dolan don't want to do this. Who's going to do it? How do you figure it out? Do you try to get somebody to wear a wire and get him to say something ridiculous? Have you perhaps considered planting something in his vehicle? What you got? There's got to be something that they can do to get him up out of here. There has to be. None of the other owners will go for it, though, because the truth is ain't none of them but so good at their jobs either, right? So they'll be like, what's the next thing? Like, how are we going to determine what owner is good enough to stay around? That's how Donald Sterling made it to stick around as long as he did, though Sterling has some allies. I don't know who the allies are that, what's his name has, that Jim Dolan. Like, you think he's got some buddies in the league?
I mean, I would imagine he has some. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to last this long. But I'm wondering if there's a way where you can make a rule that basketball owners cannot perform on stage. Because then if you leave a choice between JD and the straight shot or the Knicks,
I think he'd take the straight shot. And I'll tell you this about Dolan, too. This is what I don't knock Dolan for. People be like, damn, Dolan owned the arena, so he forces himself as an opening act. I would do that. Would you do that? I would do that. Right? Like, if I was on the arena and I'm like, look, here's the only thing, though. You got to let me open for you. Like, this dude is open for the Eagles. Yes. Yes. Like, this is what he does. He's like, look, I'm here. I run this. I'm going to play. You let me know if you cool with that. Eagles don't give a damn who the opening act is. And then from there, my man just gets to go up there and live out his dreams. And I got to say, I can't be mad at him for going out here and living out his dreams in that way. So, poor Knicks fans, the ones of y'all that, like, happen to be left. Like, is it any fun playing for the Knicks? You can't be proud of it, but you can still be rich. Like, is it still setting it off when the Knicks comes in the club? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like no matter how sorry the Lakers are, the Lakers show up in the house, man, it's still going to get to cracking. Like, that's what I would think. That would be my guess. I don't know. But here they are. Here it is. Charles Barkley out here. Charles Oakley. Who? You know how mad Charles Oakley would be if he heard I accidentally called him Charles Barkley? Like, that would be the end of the interview. Because you know he hates Chuck, right?
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, he says he slapped Chuck in a players' union meeting once. You ain't heard about that one?
I have not.
Yeah. He said he slapped him in the players. And the thing is, Barkley says it didn't happen. Everybody else who was there says it did. Literally, every other person says it did. The only person who says it didn't happen is Charles Barkley. And I love that dude. It's just very, very difficult for me to hold on to that belief. It is. But there he is. We also got Stephon Marbury, Gabe. He rolled up in the spot. He's over there posted up with Jalen Jacoby. You think he'll come over here with us next?
Should be any minute now.
All right. No, we can make that happen. And we'll be back in a minute with Stephon Marbury. But first, when it comes to scoring great hires for your business, you may be up against a few obstacles like an overwhelming amount of resumes, too many applicants but not enough of the right ones, trouble spotting the most qualified candidates in a sea of possibilities. That's why you need ZipRecruiter on your team. No matter the industry, healthcare to manufacturing to business services, ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. First, when you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites. Then ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology hustles for you to find people with the right experience for your job and invites them to apply. In fact, check out this stat. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So add ZipRecruiter to your roster to help you win the hiring game. To try ZipRecruiter for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. That's ZipRecruiter.com/BOMANI. ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, it is the time of week where we do our interview, and joining us now, Stephon Marbury. Appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
All right, now, you got a documentary that's out, right?
Yes.
All right, what's the story on that?
It's a documentary about my life. 22 years I played professional basketball. I grew up Coney Island. You know, I played Rucker, Coney Island, where I'm from, the Garden, played in all of these different basketball courts. Then went to Lincoln, then Georgia Tech, NBA, then China. It's about a whole life. It's about ups, downs. It's about family, inspiration, encouragement. It's a documentary about truth and honesty.
Like, I think for a lot of like younger people who will be hearing this, they don't quite know what it meant to be Stephon Marbury in like 1993, 94, 95. And I think it's kind of hard to explain because now high school kids are all over the place. Like, we know who they are. They're on television. But you meant something to New York, and specifically with your family and with your brothers having played ball before, that I think it's kind of hard for people to get the magnitude of without having it presented to them again.
Yeah, it's a big platform in what we have as a family in basketball. My oldest brother played for Georgia, played against Jordan when he was in college. My brother after him was, he played for Texas A&M. Another brother was highly recruited. He played for St. Francis. Myself and my little brother played for Rhode Island. So we're a basketball family. And telling this story, we give people insight on things that took place years ago and giving people that aha moment, like, oh man, I can't believe 20 years. I was thinking something for 20 years. I was believing something for 20 years as far as what was told and spoken about with this, with Stephon Marbury. But now we give people the opportunity for them to learn, for them to know, things that went on, things that happened. It's a great time to share because I played and then now I retired and now I'm coaching. So I'm into my second phase of what it is that I'm doing in life, which, people get that opportunity to see, oh, this is the first act.
How old were you when you realized that the world thought that you, because of basketball, was something special?
I think when people saw me when I was 3 years old, when I was 3, I was shooting the ball inside the hoop. At that age, it was rare seeing things what people were seeing and me being able to play basketball at that young. And then, when people started to recognize me was, when I was in 5th grade, Hoop Scoop magazine rated me like the top 5th grader in the nation. After seeing me play. So they were like, yeah, they're starting to rank people at this age.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when that happened, people started paying attention and then it started to become a class. And then you go to All-American camps, you play in these camps and you playing 5-star, all of these different camps. And when you do that, now people start seeing you. Like, if we had Instagram and all of the things that are out right now, it would be a different magnitude in how people would know and what people would know. But now we get the opportunity to showcase this stuff for people to see because, you got YouTube, you got all of these different platforms that preserve your content. So with that being said, it gives a different perspective from seeing what they saw and what we can show them.
Right. Now, was it like any point uncomfortable for you? Because all that attention seems like it'd be a lot for a young person to deal with.
Nah, but because I had older brothers who had the experience and they went through that, my mom and my sister wasn't never going to let that happen. Like, boy, nobody bigger than God, period, right? You already know. So after that, you always have checkers, people that's going to check you. My sisters, my mom, my dad, my brothers. So it's hard to really get caught into that. So you just focus on hooping and you're better than the guys that you're better than because you work harder. Those guys don't work hard. They don't do the things that you do when you're younger, which is why you play the way you play. You do things different on the court.
Right. And it seems important to note that even with all those basketball players in your family, you were the one.
Right.
Like they knew that you were the one. Right. And the impression I've always gotten, you correct me if I'm wrong here, is that especially for your older brothers, there was a lot of care, not just that you were the one, but we're going to make damn sure that this happens for this dude.
100%. Everything that all of my brothers had, I took all of that. They gave me that. They made sure I knew how to do that. Like my oldest brother, he couldn't really shoot that good. But my second brother, he knew how to shoot really well. And then my brother, after my oldest brother, Norman, he could shoot decent, but he could pass and handle the ball. He was like a magician with the ball. So I took all of their games, the jumping. My oldest brother was they call him Sky Pup, Sky Dog and Sky Pup. So my brother used to jump really high. So I took that from my oldest brother. That was with the workouts, from running in the sand, running up the pissy staircases in the hood, you know, over and over every day, building the strength inside my legs to be able to jump the way how I jump. My brother was like, little dudes that dunk, those are the dudes that are exciting. So you want to make sure you could do this. Like, and trying to get me to work out and do the stuff that I needed to do. But I was locked in. All I wanted to do was make it to the NBA to get my mom's out. So whatever it took. So I took all of their advice and then used all of what I knew how to do from playing ball.
Now, what were some of those pickup games like that I imagine they took you to, right? Like, not just the ones that you wound up
right
in.
outside my house.
Right, but the ones that they're like, no, this is the one you need to play.
I mean, right outside my house. I remember one time I challenged my brother right above me. He didn't even play the game. He just beat me up the whole game. Just beat my ass. Like, oh, you talking? You talking? He was like, all right, come on, let's go outside and play. You think you could beat me? You think you could beat me? Everything was a foul. Beat me up, threw me into the ground, made me cry, everything. Like, oh, you're not playing basketball. You're not playing basketball. And he got mad. I was like, man, I got a lesson from that.
Now, how old were you though when you realized that you were better than them, right? Because a lot of us had that when you play with your pops. You had, like, I remember the first time I beat my pops in basketball.
When I was getting ready to go to the NBA.
Really?
That's when. Yeah.
So even as you were going to Georgia Tech, they were still
they was nice. They could play. They were NBA players. They just didn't get picked.
Right.
It happens. You know, there's a lot of guys that can play the game, but they don't get the opportunity. Mm-hmm. My brothers was one of those guys. But a lot of it was they didn't have all of the ingredients, you know, so and you got to have all of the ingredients to play in the NBA. So for me, it wasn't just about making it to the NBA. It's a lot of guys just got to dream about making it to the NBA. I wanted to dominate in the NBA. I wanted to do work in the NBA. I didn't want to just play. That was what I wanted. Like, they had what they wanted and what they thought, but I was like, I could play against these dudes and I could do what I want to do with them. I played against NBA players as a high school player and was killing them in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So I already knew that I could deal with the physicality of the game. I knew how it felt when I got hit as a high school kid when I played against NBA players. So I knew what I had to do as far as my strength was concerned.
Right. Do you remember the first time that you went up against one of those NBA dudes and were like, oh, okay, I'm here. I'm good?
Everybody's good.
Yeah.
Everybody's good. That's the best part about playing in the NBA. Against the dudes that start, that's nice.
Right.
That play 38 minutes, 36 minutes. I'm talking about those dudes. Mm-hmm. Cause it's a difference. There's some guys that play 16, 17 minutes and there's guys that play 38. It's a difference. A lot of people don't understand. Like, it's two different players. So playing against those type of guys every night in, night out, you learn right away. Cause you know you got to go up against them. So if when you got to go up against them and you know, like, all right, this is going to be a real challenge. He's strong. He could shoot. He could do this. So it's literally a respect thing.
Right. All right, more with Stephon Marbury in a minute, but first, tired of that 2:30 feeling? You're not alone. In fact, research shows that more than 70% of us hit the wall after lunch. Let a 5-hour energy shot help you leap over that wall instead of crashing into it. Anyone who travels frequently knows how tiring it can be. Whether you're on business or on vacation, 5-hour energy shot can help you stay alert and energized wherever you may be headed. 5-hour energy helps you get through your crazy on-the-go life. With 0 sugar, 4 calories, and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for busy, hard-working people. Now it comes in 2 extra-strength tropical tastes. Strawberry banana and tropical burst. They're great. They are delicious and can take you to a tropical on-the-go experience. Try them both, then go online to shop5hourenergy.com and use the code Bomani to receive a one-time offer of 10% off your order. That's shop5hourenergy.com. Use the code Bomani. Go to shop5hourenergy.com and use the code Bomani to receive a one-time offer of 10%. 5-Hour Energy. Energy on the go. Now, one thing I want to ask you about, because I went to college in Atlanta in 97. You were there 2 years before I was. 95 is a hell of a time to show up in Atlanta, right?
Man.
Like, what was that like for you getting there? Ask Stephon Marbury, by the way.
I mean, Atlanta is, I can't even go into explaining why Atlanta is, that's a spot.
Yeah.
That's a spot. Atlanta was a spot. That's a spot you go to. Like, people be like, yo, that's my spot, right? You know what that is.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I go there. That's where I go when I want to go someplace.
Yeah.
That's what Atlanta was.
And it's like when you New York boys were just getting hip to it, right? Cause like, cause Crimmins would get like John Sally was an example of like the dudes that came down from New York and then played in Atlanta. And this is in the midst
You from the A?
Oh, I went to college at Clark.
Oh,
like
okay.
my parents live in Atlanta.
From?
I'm from Houston.
Oh, you're from
But
H.
yeah. My parents live in Atlanta. Right. That's the home base for my family. And I just I got there in 97 and I remember I was like, yo, this is the craziest thing in the world, right?
Wow.
Like you there at the beginning of something, but 95, like that's the Mr. Freaknik. That's
everything.
All of this. Georgia Tech basketball is a thing.
But check it out. But the dope part is that's the time when they refurbished and they redid Atlanta because the Olympics.
Right.
So it was all new.
Right.
That was one of the things that Crimmins sold me on. He was like, oh, we got brand new dorms. The Olympics is here. And I was like, for real? For real? I was like, that's cool. And then Bobby Crimmins did it different. He sent the Learjet to pick me up to bring me on my college visit.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The Learjet.
Yeah, they picked me up in the jet. I was at practice. I left practice, went to Teterboro, jumped on a flight, went to Atlanta, and he drove me in a brand new Mitsubishi DeMonte. I never forget it. Cream. Brought me right to the Atlanta Hawks game. They was playing against the Pacers. They was playing against Travis Best was playing that year.
Okay.
He was like, this is where you want to be at, right? I was like, 100. 100. 100%. I want to be right there on the court doing that.
Oh, and I know they had to spin you to Lennox. They had to spin you to Clark because Georgia Tech just got too many dudes.
Spelman, everywhere. All over. The whole ASU campus.
Yeah.
Stop.
I just remember like, cause for me, it was like the first week when I got there, I was just like, yo, this is like, and it's not like I'd never been there before, right? But it was still just like, yo, this is whatever. And I always wondered for the New York dudes, cause I didn't understand it when I was there, cause I hadn't been to New York. New York, there's nothing like this, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so I always wonder what it's like for dudes when they get their first, like, for real experience being somewhere else after being in New York.
Amazing. I mean, when I first went there on my visit, I was like, I'm going here. My coach was like, Stephon, you can't just commit and sign. I said, I'm going to this school right here. He was like, all right, if this is what you want to do, we got to wait. Because after my visit, I was like, I want to announce that I'm going to Georgia Tech. He was like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. It's like, they're going probation if you do that right now. I was like, why? He was like, you can't do that.
So you were
before I knew the rules.
So you weren't one of those people that was like, everything's better in New York. Like you got to Atlanta was like, all right, I'm here now.
No, I've been all over the planet. I've been exposed to different places. I mean, for me, like people ask me like, oh, why you wanted to leave Minnesota? I was like, I went from New York, a melting pot. I went to Atlanta where Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then I went to Minnesota.
Right.
It's
the same.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. So in my mind as a young kid growing up, from how I went and what I transitioned to, it changed. So I wanted to go someplace where I felt like I was going to be comfortable.
Right.
For my life. Like I don't choose to want to live in this environment for the next 7 years of my life.
Right.
So, Atlanta is that spot. It does that.
Now, did you expect when you went to Georgia Tech that you'd only be there for a year?
One and done. I already said it. I said it when I was in high school. I said, when I go to Georgia Tech, if I'm a top 5 pick, I'm leaving. I'm not staying.
Right.
Some of the people was like, why are we bringing this guy to the school here? He's saying he's not going to stay here if he plays well and goes 1 year. This is the only thing he's thinking about. I'm like, well, this is what it is.
Right.
Like, yeah, I don't got to go there. I could go to another school. I could go to a school that is okay with one and done. I'm like, I'm utilizing the platform and you're utilizing me. What's the problem?
Right. Right. And I think about when you were in Minnesota, I remember a quote, I remember reading this, and I think I'm getting this right, about, when you wanted to go somewhere else. You said something that really stuck with me at the time, because I think I was like a lot of other people that was like, yo, you get to play with Kevin Garnett, like this is the place you want to be. And you were like, hey man, I want to go home. Kevin McHale and everything else are telling me not to, but Kevin McHale is from Minnesota. Like Kevin McHale is at home. Right? Like, so what are we talking about?
It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's all right that you want to go back to where you want to go back to. When you're free, you're free. People continue to fail to realize. I went to the owner, Glenn Taylor, and I said to him, Mr. Taylor, I said, I just want to let you know that I'm not going to resign. I said, I'm telling you this because I want you to be able to get another guard. So you could trade somebody for me to get somebody, to play the point. So I won't just be leaving y'all high and dry telling you guys that I'm going to re-sign with you guys, and then I don't re-sign with you, and then I just leave. I wouldn't want to do that. You guys have been great to me. I love Minnesota and playing basketball. The fans are great here. I said, but I just want, if I can make my own decision to go where I want to go, and if I'm a free agent and play someplace else. But people couldn't see that. They couldn't understand that. It became so many different things about why I didn't stay. What about why I told you?
Right.
Did you ever think about that?
Right.
No, you didn't think about that. I'm like, I mean, from where I am now, I'm like, that's the way how it was supposed to be. And that's basically what a kid from Coney Island is about. It's a kid from Coney Island. I traveled, I journeyed all over. People was like, oh, you played on different teams. I was like, different players play on different teams. I said, I got love in Phoenix. I got love in Minnesota. I got love in New Jersey. I got love in New York. I got love in Boston. I said, I know people all over America. I said, I'm not stuck in one place. That's cool. It's a business. If it happened, it's cool.
Right.
If it didn't happen, then I'll be like, oh, you got traded. No, this is a business, man. Relax.
Right.
Calm down. Chill out.
But I look back on it, and I guess now, because I'm older, I can look at it. That's an amazing level of confidence for a 21, 22-year-old to just walk in with the owner and say that.
I mean, it was the right thing to do.
Right.
That's what it was. And the reason why I did that is because I can talk about it now. So I stayed true to who I was and what was going on at the moment in time. Because time really doesn't exist. If you ask somebody what time is it, the time is already passed.
Right.
To be honest. So we really actually are in the moment. And my moment didn't change from that moment. It's just events that had happened and what's gone on in our lives as we live on earth. So for me, I was conscious and aware of what was going on at an early age. So, at 22, 21, I may not have been able to make a decision on a court the same way that I was able to make a decision in what I wanted to do in my life. And it could have been reversed, where some people have a different understanding and ideology about what they think.
Right.
So it's cool. Like, that's all part of being a human being, right?
Were there any of those calls and decisions that you made that, like, in the time around making them, that you really worried, like, I might have made the wrong call on this?
No, I didn't feel that way because it was made about how I felt. That's what it was. It was about how I felt. And all we got in this world is our feelings. So for me, the decisions that I made, I think about that. Somebody was asking me about, would you have done this different? I was like, I'm a black kid from Coney Island. I got 2 statues in a place where there's 1.4 billion people in a museum. Green card, key to the city of a city that's one of the most populous cities in the world, and 30 million people in Beijing. I'm good. I'm okay. Right. God has blessed me beyond. My vision and my dream for me was nowhere near compared to what the dream and vision God had for me. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah, how long did it take you to get comfortable in China?
I mean, when I first got there, I was comfortable the way how they treated me. When I landed off the plane, it was like 5,000 people waiting for me after I left a place where I was depressed and couldn't get on a team. So I was doing something different. So when I got there, I basically went right from one space to another space and been living in that space for the last 10 years.
All right, now you said you were depressed before you went there. Was it just like the idea of coming to terms with the fact that maybe your time in the NBA was up?
No, my father died. I wasn't awarded that part of life to be able to grieve and feel what I felt while living in the public. That wasn't okay for people to accept me feeling that way and living away amongst people and showing people how I felt. Basketball is basketball. You go play basketball anyway. It's just a game at the end of the day. And you make money for entertaining people. That's what you get paid for and why they pay you the money that they pay you. You're an entertainer when you get on the court and you do what you do. So I wasn't never confused about this. This was always the rules when I was a little kid.
Right.
So I knew this. I knew things that kids, if you don't have no brothers that went to college, you the only one that's trying to strive to get there. I had a roadmap already shown on my door and my walls about what you need to do in order to try to go where you say you want to go.
Right. And so you said when you got to China, you knew, like getting off the plane, seeing those people, like this is the place.
When I seen the people, I didn't know nothing. What I knew was I seen people smiling and happy to see me.
Right.
That's what I did know when I landed. And I was saying, who are all of those people? And they were like, they're here for you. I'm like, why? I just left a place where I wasn't getting on the NBA team. My brand was going down in Starbury. I was depressed. I was dealing with grieving from my dad from passing away at a Knicks game, being rushed to the hospital. Like my pops was watching the game and he was rushed to the hospital and my pops passes away. I don't even get to see him, but that's the way how it was supposed to go. I'm like, I think I'm entitled to be able to cry about my dad. I see you guys crying all the time now on whatever platform. But when I did it, it was a problem. You talking about me eating Vaseline? Is that what you really talking about? Your dad smoked crack and your mom is on coke and you talking about me eating Vaseline. It don't make sense. I'm like, I think you should be concerned about what's going on in your life instead of talking about what's going on in mine, because that's nothing. Because you have nothing. You don't have nothing to put on me other than that to make a joke. But it's not a joke. The dude that invented Vaseline, he ate a teaspoon of it every day. It's a fact.
But it is interesting, though, because I remember when the Ustream stuff was going on, and all those things were happening. I wonder how that would be received now, because you're right. The way that we receive people is
that's 10 years ahead of time.
Right.
I mean, I started you doing what you doing with your phone. When
you're right. You're absolutely right.
People was calling me. I said, y'all gonna be doing this. All y'all gonna be doing this. And they was like, yo, he's nuts. He's talking to a computer. He's talking to a phone. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm talking to you. That's who I'm talking to. I'm just ahead of it. You're mad because you didn't think about it to do it. And it's okay. I understand.
No, you're absolutely right. About that same summer, I started doing my own Ustream stuff. Like no joke. Literally, I started doing one because I wasn't even up on the platform, right? And I admit, watching it, I was like, dude, what the hell's going on here, right? And I guess I didn't have the context of what you were going through at the time. But I was not sure.
A lot of people didn't know. People thought, you was crying on the internet. I said I was crying on the internet. I was listening to a gospel song that touched me and affected me in a way because I was thinking about my pops, and I let you see it. I said, I could have easily closed it and killed it. No, I chose to let you see what you saw. I chose to do what I was doing when I was doing it in front of you. I was conscious and aware of what was going on. I can close it or cut it off whenever I want. And I know what you're going to say because this is what you normally say. But now with all of these different platforms, Instagram TV and Twitter and Periscope, I laugh. Justin TV merged. They sold so much money and made so much money over that. But when I was talking about owning my own platform and doing that, people was like, if he does that, then we won't have no control, no access to it. But, I'm happy that people are doing it. It gives people an avenue. It gives them a way, and they can have a viewpoint, and they can speak what's on their mind, and people can listen to that because somebody can pick something positive up from it.
Yeah, like I think, and I imagine this will be a theme in the documentary, there are a lot of things in this that you were kind of ahead of that I don't think that people really had, like on different levels. Like it's almost like I was reading something about Prince, where like Prince was the first dude to decide I'm going to sell all my stuff on the internet, right? Which seemed like a crazy thing, and then you fast forward and then everybody's kind of doing the same thing. And you got this smile on your face like, yeah, that's how, like that's what's up. That's what's up.
I mean, for me, I look at it like it's okay for people to do things that will magnify and be huge and big for everyone, and a big company didn't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the obvious they didn't do. So when I did that and doing like with the shoes, like, oh, you sold shoes for $15. I was crazy for that. Oh, the shoes is whack. They this, they that. I said, dude, do you know how much it costs to make a sneaker? I'm like, you don't. You don't know it costs $5 to $6. Cause if you knew it cost $5 to $6, $10, $15, and you paying $500 for it, I don't think you would like it.
Right.
I said, I don't think you're going to like that feeling. I was like, I'm selling clothes and stuff that's the same stuff that you're buying. $10 or less. Now you go in stores, you see it all over. You see it everywhere. They even made dollar stores and they sell stuff for $20, $50, $30.
Right.
So, it's just the timing of when it happened. I mean, I spoke it and said it because that's what I was seeing and that's what I was feeling as far as what can help people, right? I was trying to help people. I wasn't, I make money. You can make money, but if you are happy and I can make money, we call that a win-win situation.
Right.
And if I'm creating win-win situations, why are you afraid of me being able to have a lot? You don't want me to have a lot because of whatever your personal reasons are. Maybe I don't agree with you. Maybe you don't like what I'm saying or you don't, you dislike, but it's all good.
And I imagine that had you the ground running when you got to China, right? Like all these things that were going, and now you're in the largest marketplace in the world.
I went to China to play basketball and to try to build my brand. And what ended up happening was I got an opportunity to learn how to build my own vertical platform. From making it in the factory to sending it to America, being able to do it all by myself, opposed to having different companies say, oh, we can do that for you. It costs a lot of money to do it. It's hard to do. It's not easy. You have to learn. You have to do all of these different things that you've never done before. But over my course of my 10 years, I've learned how to do all of these different things and sourcing and figuring out how to create and make and create access for people. So, it's been a blessing in being able to go to China to learn and evolve because there's a place bigger. People don't realize there are more people that play basketball here than there are people breathing in America. I'm like, it's 1.4 billion people in China, and there are 317 census report million people here in America. And census report will tell you this is what's going on in the growth of our nation. That's already done someplace. They dribble a ball. Just imagine all of those people dribbling the basketball. So basketball is huge, it's big there, and it's growing. So for me to be able to have basketball and where they make all of the products where people buy what it is that they buy, it's a really good opportunity.
What was your reaction when somebody told you that they were going to build a statue of you in
I couldn't
China?
believe it. During this time, we won the championship, right? I got a call from Kevin McHale's people. They was asking me to come back to play for the Rockets. They put a petition out, and they said, if 1 million people sign this petition, we're going to build a statue of Stephon. When I seen the news, I called my friend, Chinese kid. I said, Joe, they said they're going to build a statue if they get 1 million people to write their name on it. He said, he hung up. He was like, I'm going to call you back. He hung up. He seen it. He said, oh my God, they really are going to build a statue of you. I was like, this is nuts. This is crazy. So when I got the call to go back, I was like, who leaves a place where they're going to immortalize you?
Right.
Who does that? I'm black. I'm from Coney Island. I'm in another place. Like, I couldn't even wrap my mind around it because of how I felt from previous.
Right.
Like, so I couldn't even accept the award because I felt like I didn't deserve it. But they was like, what? Do you know what you've done here? What you've done for the city? The way how the people feel here? They never won a championship here before. That drove me so much. It drove me. I told my coach, I said, Coach, let's go for 5 championships. He said, let's do it. We ended up winning 3 and 4 years. A museum, another statue, green card, key to the city. I was like, oh, it's different when you win here. This is way better than the MVP trophy.
Yeah, because they value champions very much in China, right?
It's not even, it's unbelievable. It's not like you win the NBA championship 2 days later, they're talking about the draft.
Right.
That's not what's going on.
Now, what was cooler for you? A play about your life in China or He Got Game being made about you in the U.S.?
I mean, basically that's my movie. You know, Spike asked me to do it. He asked me to audition. I wouldn't audition, so I didn't get that part when he auditioning people to be me, which is cool. I understand. You might not be able to act, whatever. I get it. Seeing that and knowing that the effect that it had on the culture, people know, like, this is about a guy who did something in this place. It's cool. Doing a play, that's basically like having a stamp. Like, you got a musical? Like, yeah, it's a musical where 1,200 people come and watch, and I played in a musical. Even when I did the movie, I was like, why do you guys think this highly of me that y'all think that I can do this? There's like, we think you could act, we think you can do it. And I'm like, no, I never did this before. They was like, well, we think you can. I do a movie. So people like, you played a movie about yourself. You played in a musical about yourself. I'm like, this is all real stuff. This is all stuff that I never thought that I would be doing. I mean, I was just limiting my mind and just, I play basketball. I don't really want to do that. Not taking the time and focusing and studying and acting coach and all of those different things. So I evolved. I started seeing way more different things and doing things.
Yeah, like I was thinking about with all the stuff we've been talking about Kobe in the last couple of months, and the thing I always say about Kobe is that the most admirable thing about him is that he's unafraid of failure, right? Like, he'll give it a run. And that seems to be the same wiring you got, that failure is not something that shakes you at all.
No, not at all. This is what I do. I practice, like my sister told me, she said, Stephon, practice doesn't make perfect. It makes permanent. And when you instill this understanding in your mind, when you go and you train and you work, you practice to create consistency because you're going to miss. You're not going to make it every time. So for me, that's the failure. The failure is you got to try again and you got to try to do it. And then when you do it, you like, oh, that's success. No, that's not the success. The success is when you can do it over and over and over and it becomes second nature. That's the part that I love.
Right. Now for you now, how's coaching going?
Great. I'm able to impose my will on these guys to play as hard as they can and give them the juice that I have from playing, mix it together, allow them to understand their own mentality and their dog inside them by tapping into them, by challenging them, by being consistent. So that's basically what coaching has been. It's, somebody was like, oh, you'll be a great college coach. I'm like, look, coaching is a real thing. It's hard. It's not easy. It's fun when you see the results, but it's a lot of work, So for me, I've accepted the challenge and I love the challenge. So it's good.
I love the idea that we've lived long enough that Rasheed Wallace is coaching in high school and you were coaching the team in China.
Is great.
Like, this is like nobody would have in 1996, like the idea that you guys would be out here
not
coaching.
Us, right? They'd be like, not those two guys.
Like, what do you think your old coaches would think about the idea that now you're going to be the one coaching?
They all say that that's something that I would do. People who, when they're like, that's your lane right there. Like, and when they watch me coach and they see me coach and they like, yo, you be in the game the whole game. I haven't sat down one time during the season. Like, not one time when the game went on. I'm always coaching the whole game. I don't even know how I feel to sit down on the bench.
Right. Now, thinking about the player you were, especially young, could you, as coach now, have coached you when you were 20?
Yes, 100%. For me, all you got to do is talk to me, right? And we speak. Don't tell me what you want me to do. Tell me how you want me to do it. Give me direction. People was asking me about, like, why are you and Larry Brown? I said, cause Larry Brown, he tried to speak to me like I was his son, and I'm not his son. Right? Like, I get you play father figures, but not every kid need a father figure. I got a father, a real pops. Like, I get it that you've dealt with some kids like that, but it's some kids that are not like that. So you have to adjust. Right? So for me, talking to kids, I try to be mindful of who they are as people, right? And as basketball players and as people, it's the same, and it could be the same in the demeanor, but it may not be the same. So, it's give and take, right? It's give and take.
Which coach did you deal with the best when you were in the NBA?
Flip Saunders. That's the person that taught me the NBA game. He taught me how to come off pick and roll, the angles, why you make this pass, why this pass works, why this pass doesn't work, how to, when you going downhill, how do you attack? Because the big man, some things that they just can't do. But now the big men, they've adjusted and they're a lot faster with their footwork and the game has evolved. So he was one of the people that really gave me all of the tools that I needed to build on top of my foundation in the NBA.
All right, they're trying to run us out of here, but I want to give you another chance again to tell the people about the documentary. It's limited release on March 10th, right?
Yes, A Kid from Coney Island, March 10th it drops. Check it out. You can just go to akidfromconeyisland.com and get the information.
Dude, this is really dope, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us here, man. Appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this thing a couple times a week. My man Gabe Bassane handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Thank you to our guest, Stephon Marbury. Also, thank you to our sponsors. Thanks to forhims.com. Also, thanks to ZipRecruiter, and thanks to 5 Hour Energy. All right, remember, subscribe to The Right Time. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You didn't give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater, and we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.
Thanks for checking out The Right Time with Bomani Jones podcast.
You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Right Time
with Bomani Jones.